Welcome to TradeTheMBA.com. This is John. This reports for the 23rd of August, and of course, we've been in this slightly weak mode since, well, right back over here almost a week ago at this particular point. And with steel slightly moving higher, we were kind of holding on right at the ABM, and of course, we had that value at $29.90. Plus, we had a bunch of other algo levels above 94. Then again, at 3008 was the peak one, and we really got up towards the top of that and just kind of stagnated before rolling over. Again, you know, it's the same situation here with the NASDAQ, only a little bit stronger in that you have failing Cyan, which is giving a little bit more midterm support. However, well below the ABM, right at the 76 rising Fibonacci level. And that puts the ABM green here right around the 61% range. So you can look for that range to play around. And actually got to turn up of midterm buyers and a reset of the shakeout here at the positive level. So NASDAQ could be the turnaround point. We'll see if it's able to do it. You know, the same old story with the Brit exit. We got positive extremes right about here that kind of overextended. So we're looking for a move back down towards that 110.68 range. So it got a little tired because, of course, the Brit exit did pretty much exactly what they were looking for. Nothing. Which, status quo. Johnson's still trying to get a hard exit, and that would be the ultimate disaster mode, which would throw the euro into a lot of world hurt. We'll see if that low probability is the only thing probably keeping the euro from improving, despite the fact that the Eurozone in general is having an abysmal economic situation at this particular point. Slight uptick in oil, and that's off of the P2s and that, and so it's not going to do very much for very long, but at this particular point, creating a decent buy configuration. That's not producing anything with gold at this particular point, just kind of in a, well, negative spiral here, keep dipping below the red line, so still looking for it to test that lower range. And from an intraday standpoint, it was kind of boring. We started out with that pushed it, well, right back past that 3008 that we'd had here, we talked about. And then we kind of broke down below it, but we were doing it with a reset. So as soon as we started moving above the negative 13.5 with the steel, you can see it crossed over, and that was enough to give it a nice push, put it right back on the upside of the 3008. But in so doing, it created the dip below the red line right here, so we were expecting that, hey, we should be revisiting this kind of no man's zone here at the 3000 range, because below it you had the 94 and all the way up here, the 3008, so it was a pretty decent range. We just kept hovering and kept getting fairly weak signals, except for we were reset every time with the steel, and so this was a good indication of showing that. I mean, yes, fine, you get your DOC spread in that, but as soon as it comes in, you just get a modest move, take this right back to the 3008, and then boom, starts over again. And then we started to see finally right here in this range where we didn't get the reset below the red line, and so these were starting to look a little more interesting from a breakdown standpoint, but we were already getting almost to an oversold condition here as the DOC red was falling. We just kept having bounces. So by the time we got the green over cyan, that was a nice little boost, and that took it well to the peak of its move, and that was right around the 3014 range. And that's when we started to see another DOC spread. This time it had a little bit more orange oomph to it, and but still, again, with the reset, so we really weren't looking for a whole lot to take place there. And then that's when we had the green spider, cyan, so cyan moving back above, steel cross below, orange spiking up, and green coming down. By the next bar, it confirmed itself, even though it was pretty much relatively the same price, and then that led to the cascade, which allowed for the filling of the dip below the red line right down here. And of course, as soon as that happened, we started to catch a bid, except for the fact that no reset, so we were expecting further weakness. So it was just a matter of waiting again for that cyan spread. Again, did it right there with the steel crossing, and boom, that led to the real breakdown that took place, putting us right where we are now. Again, right back at the 94. Got the recovery was slightly before the 77 algo, but it was a beautiful play. Now, we still don't have a reset, so we're still in a broader short. So as soon as we see more of those rejections plays out. Now, so here you can see the one where we had the rejection, but you didn't have the corresponding steel cross or the orange move up. But that happened, a little bit later right here and immediately reversed. So if this one's able to produce that crossover, that would be another signal to be able to attack. So for me, it's right around that 94 range. So as long as it keeps getting there, that's worth the attack mode. This was pretty clean action to the downside. I mean, I kept shorting all these little moves as they were moving towards the highs when we were in that stagnation mode, because it was all looking good and generally weak from what we had from the daily and that. So it's just a matter of, is it going to follow through, or is it going to break out to the upside? And so once it finally gave those clear signals, it produced really decent results. So liking the action. It's been a great month so far. I mean, October has not failed. It's held up pretty well. Everyone thought it was going to be a disaster, but all we were looking for was wider volatility, which is something we've seen. And as this impeachment battle plays out, I think there's more systemic risk to the downside since we're still holding up so well. So we'll see how that plays out. As always, though, I will put any special details up on the Skype chat. Trade well.